Hello and welcome. Today, this video is just going to be a little retrospective of the 2022 World Cup. Insert whatever song from the official FIFA song by like Arnbo to show speed. Uh, but either way, so at a high level, extremely good tournament. And as to why I'm making this video in the first place, I pretty much I watched 90% of the games. If we go through the games I didn't watch, uh, were Denmark, Tunisia. I didn't catch that one. I didn't catch Brazil, Serbia because I had something during that time. Caught these games. Didn't catch Poland, Saudi Arabia. Didn't catch Japan, Costa Rica. Didn't catch Cameroon, Serbia. And of course, on the double match days, can only watch one of the games. So I watched Argentina, Poland, didn't watch Saudi, Mexico. But I will say pretty proudly, like I watched every game in a round of 16 and beyond. So the tough thing was the way classes were. So like this was Sunday, like weekdays, and then like Thanksgiving break happened. So like during that time, like completely free. And so honestly, so I know you might be thinking there's 4 games in the day. So you're telling me on the East Coast, David, you woke up at 5 o'clock to watch football, from 5 o'clock to 4 o'clock because there's the 5 o'clock kickoff and the 2 o'clock kickoff. And I say yes, I did watch. I woke up at 5. I distinctly remember waking up at 5 to watch Wales, Iran, and when Chesney hit that goal, I was in bed, and I put my fist in the air when Chesney curled that into the corner. And so I did wake up at 5 for these games. I didn't wake up for the Tunisia Australia game, but definitely from the round of 16 onward, I caught all of it. And definitely just want to walk through just like each of the games, especially the ones I did watch, and just like talk about it. Just so to the degree that like, I'm a big fan of the journaling aspects of like videos, just being like a memory for the future, for my future self. And that's kind of what this is all about. As well, we can poke fun at my World Cup bracket predictions. And I guess at a really high level, not completely wrong. I mean, I I wouldn't have won Fox's bracket competition. I wouldn't have cashed in $1,000,000. But let's see, Group A, Netherlands, Senegal, got those 2 right. Of course, I overrated Qatar going into it. England, Wales, Iran on top. Yeah, England predictably so. Wales, yeah, over fixation on the old guard, and less so on the rest of the squad. I do think Iran, if a couple things went differently, could have went through and would have had a better showing against the Netherlands than the U.S. Just because of that counterattacking style. Argentina, Group C, predicted that. There was a bit some worries. I really did after Saudi Arabia pulled off the upset. It's like they got 3 points. Surely they could get 4 points, if not 5 points, if not 6, to progress all the way through. But was wrong on that. And but no, what again? The Argentina Saudi game. I distinctly remember the night before talking to my roommate and saying, by the end of the first half, how many think Argentina are going to put past? Like over under 3. And then of course the next day, and I watched the game. Wish I didn't take those remarks back. But man, very impressed by Saudi Arabia. And honestly, they could have tied Poland if it wasn't for that Chesney save. So honestly, yeah, Saudis they're really good showing, and honestly, yeah, a lot of AFC did quite well. Certainly in the beginning half, much more impressive than the AFCON going into the tournament or starting the tournament. Group D, yeah, Denmark. I guess you over-indexed the Euros. Of course, I mean the Euros was last summer. yeah, Euros were last summer. So really, in the terms of course, like lots can happen in between tournaments, like such as between like World Cups, like uh, like for example, whose squad is like extremely different? Like the English squad, like extremely different from their 2018 squad, right? Like Jamie Vardy, Fabian Delph, Ashley Young, like Phil Jones, right? But yeah, Denmark. Not, I mean, I guess what you play stagnant football and you let like McCree from Australia, uh, you know, score a solo goal and just out of ideas. Uh, yeah, did underrate France, winner's curse and all. But yeah, it was like again, I don't. The shops like play and we saw this in the final, right? Or against England, letting teams back into it, being willing to be passive when you have the lead, which again is fine. And when it works, nobody talks about. But when it doesn't work, so the England game, again, pretty lucky to get sneak out the England game at extra time, and then against Argentina, right, letting this getting completely out muscling in the midfield. But yeah, as real quickly from the groups A, B, and C and D. Yeah, again, really impressed by Saudi Arabia. Uh, Less so impressed by Iran, but again, like, Iran like in the counterattack, like they're like certainly endangered enough respect for when Taremi and Azmoun on the counterattack. Yeah, also quite impressed by Ecuador, and I see some of those TikTok edits about like the reactions of the Ecuador players after the game of celebrities. Ecuador really should have got through if it wasn't for that Estepanyan's curler that bounced, hit the top crossbar and came off to just like 3 inches lower, 6 centimeters lower. Like Ecuador really deserved to go through instead of the Netherlands, in my opinion. Uh, and same with Senegal. But other than that, Mexico. I mean, look at their squad. Can't really expect too much from a squad like that. Again, like what a goal from Chavez against Saudi Arabia, and yeah, Poland. Yeah, good for Poland and for sneaking through for Lewandowski. But man, like you see like Lewandowski's touch like heat maps or or touches and like pretty abysmal, right? Uh, so, but hey, probably he's lost tournament too, right? So these guys will. Group B. Yeah, Group B got pretty raw. Yeah, like that Japan, Germany, upset. I will admit on Japan's goal, and we'll talk about this more. But Japan's goal before halftime, that came off the long ball. I admit I did check Twitter during that, so I wasn't watching like the live because so it's a dead ball. They're gonna go kick it long to end out the half. And I checked Twitter, and what do I know? They scored a goal. So good for Sula for playing him on, but man, that angle was extremely tight. If Neuer doesn't move his head, gets stopped. But yeah, Spain, Germany. I will say, of course, I mean this group, especially on the last match day, was quite fun to watch. Like those 3 minutes of chaos when Japan and Costa Rica were going through. But yeah, Germany. Honestly, like from the games watching Germany, like the Germany Spain game was very entertaining from just like the technical quality, right, of the players involved. But it wasn't like Germany looked hapless. Like even like the Japan game was probably like their worst showing. And even in Japan game, like Musiala was causing problems. They were getting shots off, right? Germany had the highest like expected goals in the tournament. And of course, like their actual goal conversion much lower. But yeah, again, like I can't say Germany looked poor, right? Not to the degree that say like Belgium looked another UEFA country. Like Belgium looked poor. Like and their counterattacks very stagnant, slow. But I mean, Germany it looked good, but if the ball isn't going to the back of the net, right? Like expected goals doesn't count for anything, right? It's only actual goals, right? But very tough, and kudos to Japan. As much as I uh, don't like, as much as I found the blue lock stuff to be super annoying. But yeah, good for them. Counterattacking. But again, right? Like again, they made it really hard for themselves, losing to Costa Rica, so kind of deserved to go out in a sense. Belgium, Croatia, Morocco, Canada. I did have Morocco as a dark horse because I do rate Hakimi, Mazraoui. Did not expect the midfield of Amrabat, Unahi to be as dominant, but really good for them and really impressive. Like they're like again like them like how the other teams the Croatia game, Morocco game, like nothing set out too much from that. But when they played Belgium, again, Belgium looked pretty hapless. That like the counters, like De Bruyne on the counter looked slow, no outlets. Uh, and then Canada, yeah, yeah, some of those Davies penalty misses, but man, that Belgium Croatia game, Gvardiol's going to be, Gvardiol's going to be, it's such an obvious. Something really annoyed me was the Fox commentators, and like their top lineup of Stu Holden and the as a color commentator, and then the other guy's a live commentator, and one of them said that Mbappe is going to be. Like they said, we predicted Mbappe. No, he moved to PSG that transfer window. You know, but no, but Gvardiol is going to be a top 10, no, the top 5 defender, central to center back in the world in the next 5 years. Brazil, Serbia. I expected more from Brazil. I suppose. Of course, this video is from my prediction from July, so wasn't expecting the Vlahovic to be injured, but like a Kostic, Sergey, Milinkovic-Savic, Mitrovic, so I expected them because again, like I rate Serbia more than I rate Switzerland and more than Cameroon. But yeah, I mean, it was expected that Serbia defense. I guess like that back three got ran at a lot. Yeah, that Serbia Switzerland game. Yeah, it's tough. But that was a good game, especially when like Vlahovic got that crazy angle to go in. But yeah, Brazil going through was expected. Portugal, Uruguay. Yeah, Portugal didn't expect them like the Ghana game, right? Probably it should have been a draw if not for Williams' slip. But Uruguay got tough. I mean, like they look dangerous. I mean, against Ghana, right? Like the Arrasqueta, not saying you're right, but he got showed how deadly he was. Nunez looked good. Darwin Nunez. But like the career goal to just select that again, it's very fine margins, right? Same with Germany, right? Fine margins of converting, and yeah, it was a tough group. So again, really good kudos to South Korea, Ghana, because again, like you can advance in these 14 brackets, right? If it's like you can definitely you're guaranteed advance if you get 6 points, you get 4 points, you get 3 points, becomes a much more interesting picture. And so again, like kudos again. So for your guys to only get however points they did. Only 4 points, right? And so for Korea, Ghana to win a match, force a draw, right? To make these brackets, to make them go into the last match day, again, really impressive. And this again, it's really good. It's very good to see that the World Cup or international football is becoming much more competitive. The gap is closing. And again, think about international football. Certainly in its modern form, it's really only been around for the past 2 decades, 3 decades, right? Like World Cup's been around since 1930, but before that, modern football of really we're seeing versions of national teams developing over the past 2 decades, 3 decades. And so we're really starting to see like the fruit of that labor and the more competitive teams. And so again, for international tournaments, it's gonna be much better. And to that degree, to all the chagrin about the 2026 World Cup and 48 teams, of course, like the actual like format they use for the 48 teams, like again, like the 4 groups of 4 in the match day drama, again, and like you just think of like the Group E, the Costa Rica Magic, or the Tunisia were advancing. Can't replicate that. But again, conceptually, if more teams like international football can definitely. And there's one tweet by Aaron Moniz. And it's like some of these games really show that you don't need good teams to have compelling matches, right? like Ecuador, Senegal. Like not not top line, like something that like filled with like extremely technical players. It wasn't like a Spain Germany game. Uh, and again, I really just like the Eurocentrism of that. But right, but like his point, like you don't need great teams for great football. I completely agree with that, especially at a World Cup, where so much of it is just like the sheer emotion, right? And have in Argentina, 4 million people plus converge on Buenos Aires, like can't replicate that, right? We just like see like the Morocco procession returning, and that like, again, like it's the world's best sporting tournament, world's best sporting event. Again, in my opinion, the world's best sport, most meritocratic sport, and for more countries to be a part of it, it can only be good. Especially now that this tournament has shown from all the upsets and how tight these, again, 6-6-4, 6-4-4, very tight, 7-5-4, very tight, 6-4-4 tight, 6-6-4 tight, 6-4-4, 7-6-4. Again, these groups were competitive, and they all went into the last match day, almost all of them. So can't say no to more teams. They could continue to grow the game. Right. Imagine it's exactly like if Morocco advanced would have been really nice. Just imagine like the impact Morocco advancing to the final would have on the game, on the sport as a whole. So hardware acceleration. But anyway, so that's the bracket. And so from that, I did predict Argentina to win. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back on that. And again, this is from July 2nd. Argentina, but yeah, I will say I did get the left hand side of the bracket. I literally perfectly right. At least the quarterfinals, semifinals, I did get that right. Netherlands, Argentina, Croatia, Brazil. I did get that right, and I have proof right here. July 2nd, I did get the quarterfinals and the semifinals right. Unironically, I feel pretty good about that. I mean, around 16, Netherlands, Wales, Argentina, France. Yeah, of course, like what's Morocco, Morocco and the U.S. being the two, and then the South Korea. But no, I feel pretty good about getting that half of the bracket right. Netherlands, again, that's pretty good. This side, not so much, but you take what you can get. Yeah, Portugal. I mean, like again, like Portugal. I mean, like Yao Felix, Leao when he came on the field. I mean, like, look dangerous. The midfield, like you recognize the names in the midfield, like Ruben Neves. I can't say the Portuguese. I can't speak the Portuguese names right, like the Neves, Yao, Felix, Felix. But again, like the midfield and like you have confidence. Like the center backs won't have screamers, won't have mistakes, but the attack. Yeah, and I suppose then the blame does go in midfield. But Fabio break down Bracco. But hey, got quarterfinals right, semifinals right on the left hand side bracket. I am actually pretty proud of that. Anyways, on to the matches themselves. Qatar, Ecuador. I mean, like it could have gone pretty ugly, pretty fast, right? Because Enner Valencia had like a second minute tap in goal that was disallowed in like the second, third minute, like definitely the first 5 minutes of the game, right? Of course, it got chalked off because of offside, but it could have been deadly. And yeah, Qatar again, like right, like they won the AFC competition a couple years ago, like only 3 years ago, back in 2019. But yeah, like did not look like again. I remember distinctly being at the gym because this was an 11 o'clock kickoff game on that Sunday, so I distinctly remember being in the gym, watching them while on the elliptical, and just on the ball did not look comfortable. Just like they were missing first touches, the ball would roll out of play because the player couldn't control the ball. So just like did not look confident at all in that sense. Because again, kudos Ecuador for keeping the pressure, but of course Ecuador sat back and ultimately, the goal differential didn't matter. But yeah, Qatar looked extremely shaky on the ball, and like on the ball, off the ball. But again, just like not being able to control a pass was a bit surprising to watch. And again, but kudos to. Anyway, that was an entertaining match to watch, right? Because compelling storylines, and of course, I mean, Ecuador looked dangerous and had chances. England, Iran. I think England got. I don't want to be a hater, but I think some of the chances England converted, like that Saka bounce off the corner to hit that in, like extremely low expected goal. And then of course, right, the game opens up, and you have to play. You have to play a bit more vulnerable. That's what you expect, but plus, of course, Iran. Carlos Queiroz lined him up in with a different starters than usual. But yes, honestly, I don't think the game means the most in the grand scheme because like it's a bit more of an anomaly. And England getting it, of course, England were the better team by no stretch of imagination, but some of the chances they converted, I see like 3-2, 4-2, much more fair scoreline. Or again, maybe arguably Iran should not have gone that last penalty. So at 3-1, 4-1. Netherlands, Senegal. Netherlands, yeah, this one Netherlands did look better. I mean that I think Mendy it's a bit hard done by that Gakpo goal from that deadly cross, but I think it was a respectable showing. USA Wales, yeah, Kiefer Moore comes on, and the US doesn't know what to do. So honestly, it would have been great to see that Bale halfway shot going, but again, right, like sets up an interesting group. RC Saudi Arabia, like upset of its tournament, completely interesting. Again, throughout this thing, well, I know when I'm talking to people about like predictions of the tournament, for me, it always come back to, well, Argentina, they can't play vertically too much because they don't have a hold up man striker or a target man up front to get the ball to. So everything's have to come to the middle. And if everything has to come to the middle, you have two choices. For one, everything's gonna have to go through the middle. And for one, right, you can drop Messi into the middle. Right. Which just means that, well, if Messi's up and Martinez up, it's not just like have your two players, then you can again so you can contest the midfield pretty easily if you're the opposition. Or you could have Messi play up top, play wide, and not be a middle. And then you're depending on your midfielders of Paredes, of DePaul to hold up and be able to be the ball progressor. And I think as the Saudi Arabia game showed, DePaul, Paredes, they can do their jobs, but their job isn't necessarily the best as a progressive midfielder, right? It's more so of like a not a box to box, but like a ball winning midfielder of a defensive anchor or a shielding midfielder. Right, and that Saudi Arabia game showed it. But again, right, it's like Saudi Arabia's goals were like low expected goals and whatnot. But again, for Argentina to not be able to convert from that point on, yeah, I definitely was an indicator then for like that common Messi conundrum for Argentina. Like, does he drop in? And if he drops in, like, what does that allow the opposition to do? And who else in the midfield is gonna pick up the slack? Denmark, Tunisia, yeah, probably a bit of a warning sign for Denmark and the lack of attacking output. Mexico, Poland. Yeah, I will say at this point I did expect a bit more from Mexico, but yeah, I mean Poland had the Lewandowski penalty that was saved, but I never saw too much besides not that the teams look hapless because it wasn't like they're just pinging long balls, but like everything like died like once like 20 yards since like each side's upper half, like the ball just stopped moving, kind of. In the France Australia game, like some of those Mbappe goals, like out of nowhere, suddenly like in like the field run of play, right? Like France for second possession, then they cross it and Mbappe's there. But again, like Mbappe is showing off how he can use his head, he can use his body. So Breton dispelled the winner's curse. Morocco, Croatia, not too much to say there, except I'd say both teams definitely filling themselves out, and you're starting to see it. Like Croatia, like the midfield of Modric, Kovacic, and Brozovic can dominate games. Morocco's wingbacks can. Again, Morocco's midfielders can. And then but then the rest of the attack, right, like your wingers, striker, a bit less. The Germany-Japan game, talked about it a bit earlier, but yeah, I think Germany are a bit hard done by this result. It's like that Asano goal. The Ritsu Dwan goal. That curler was really impressive. The amount of speed he got on it. But again, I think Germany can definitely feel a bit hard done by that result, given the run of play and how they were dominating. Again, they just looked more dangerous, right? But again, right, like it lulls you into maybe a false sense of confidence, and that's that. Spain, Costa Rica, Costa Rica did look quite hapless in this outing, right? Spain, good. I mean, good for Spain, right? Like being able to have the clinical enough on the ball, and again converting possession to goals, which evidently the rest of the tournament that's what happened. Belgium, maybe a bit lucky for that long ball to Batshuayi to go in, but I mean at the time I didn't think that'd be like I thought Belgium like didn't look dominant, but they got the result out. Maybe they were just playing down to like recognizing their old back line might need some help from the midfield, and so are willing to give Canada the ball, which allowed Canada to look better and much more dangerous. So honestly, after that result wasn't waving the red flag. Switzerland, expected. Didn't watch that game. Can't say too much. The Portugal-Ghana game, if we're skipping down, yeah, again, like yeah, Portugal, like they could definitely counterattack, and looked good in that sense. But yeah, for Ghana to get those goals, it's like that gap between the midfield and the defensive line over his head. Serbia Brazil. Brazil doesn't mean too much. I mean, if you're gonna give up a bicycle kick, it's pretty tough. And I think the Serbia. But I honestly, I know I said that Serbia's defense, the back three, let them down, but I think in this game they had a pretty good showing to keep it 2-0. Uruguay, South Korea. Yeah, fine margins, especially with that Valverde shot. Reals Iran, deadly on a counterattack, reared its head. Probably should have been 3-0, 4-0. But Senegal, Qatar, Qatar, they could bounce back, just ease into it a bit, but didn't. England, USA, of course, is very hyped, right? But yeah, again, Southgate's gonna be happy to play a bit conservatively, manage out the tournament. In the US, right, lacks that cutting edge. Right. Would Gio Reyna make a difference? Probably not. Netherlands, Ecuador really should have gotten more from this. They deserve more from it. They definitely look more dangerous, especially in the last 15 minutes. But yeah, if it comes off the crossbar, not much you can do. So Australia did watch this game, but yeah, good header from Duke. Poland, Arabia. If the Saudis got that penalty, and then right, the midfielder is slipping, letting Lewandowski pick up the ball, again, stuff happens. Can't blame that. Argentina, Mexico, again, that Messi goal coming out of 30 yards away, massive. But I made a video also on my channel talking about that, but really completely against run of play. So that just shows you what a player like that can do. France, Denmark. again Mbappe. Yeah, like, definitely showing how deadly this France team can be. Right, like they can look pretty ponderous, just like defense, midfield, passing around the back, but then right they just spring the ball to Mbappe or Dembele, and they have the width to cross it to Giroud. Yeah, so it's like really dangerous. Japan Costa Rica. Did watch the Japan game, but if you want to make qualification again, like you get 6 points and you're in. So if you want to make qualification a bit more challenging, good for Japan. Morocco. Yeah, so this is a game that revealed Belgium to be quite ponderous on the ball and out of ideas. Uh, I expected more from Carrasco, honestly, but you're good for Morocco, right? No, execute on their plan. Use set pieces, counter. Again, like yeah, Belgium's midfield, like De Bruyne was getting shut out. But so I mean, Nana coming on gave more solidity, but yeah, really good showing by Morocco. Croatia, Canada, yeah, good for again Croatia. Again, that midfield completely dominated Canada. It's like it was hard to describe. It took me 15 minutes to realize it, but after 15 minutes, like it hit me that Croatia's midfield just completely bossing the game. They could like slowing and increasing the tempo of the game as they chose. Uh, so honestly, that game. So this game, Croatia Canada, Croatia's midfield completely, and even for like a guy who's like not the best, just watching a broadcast, right? Not watching the tactical camera, like noticeably recognize Croatia's midfield dominating. Spain, Germany, quite a technically entertaining game. Cameroon, Serbia. Yeah, Serbia probably should have gotten a result. Right, Mitrovic was a bit more clinical, where defense played a bit deeper, but shootout. Ghana, South Korea. Uh, yeah, a bit of a shootout. Brazil, Switzerland. Yeah, probably the outcome you expect. And again, no Neymar, so that shows how Brazil can get a result. And that's in this game. Like really made you like favor Brazil, like to have like the ability to not be dependent on one player, and so be able to get a result against a tough side. Portugal, Uruguay. This one was a bit of a toss up, right? Like round of 16 from a 2018, but yeah, again, Portugal's attack came through. Ecuador, Senegal. Again, this was to get through the group. Uh, I mean, Ecuador. Like, I mean, they were attacking for much of that second half, right, to get the equalizer. Uh, but entertaining game. And Netherlands, yeah, just a mop up for against Qatar. I watched this game, not the Netherlands game, so I can't speak to that. Iran, USA. Yeah, those TikTok edits of the US were a bit annoying, but yeah, tough for Iran. You know, yeah, unfortunately, like the center back or the right back, lost concentration, allowed Pulisic to get through. Wales, England. Wales look quite hapless in that. Or maybe still like a depth. Good for Tunisia, even if it is against France, is a different French lineup. But to get the result anyway, good on them, because not everybody would. Australia, great solo run. But yeah, Denmark looked quite hapless. And I mean, again, like, it's not like it wasn't like Australia looked dangerous either, but it's just in like Australia, like they made their chance and Denmark couldn't take theirs, and so but was the most entertaining game because like both teams not really attacking threats. Argentina, Poland, there was a lot of drama going into this because like you weren't super confident that Poland couldn't shit out someone, and I mean Poland they were, especially at the end, right? Like no yellow cards and like they were trying to game out because they know the result of the other Group C. Uh, but in Group C, yeah, a bit hard done for Saudi Arabia. But again, some really good goals by Mexico. Croatia, Belgium. Yeah, knows what you need to do. But again, like the Belgian midfield getting good, taken out the game by Croatia. And Morocco, Canada. Yeah, I think this game like really survived Morocco. Of course, they topped the group. Morocco's a dangerous side. Japan, Spain. That was quite surprising. But again, right, it's just like possession in and of itself doesn't mean anything. And Costa Rica, Germany. Yeah, I wasn't watching that game live, but you get to score updates and this game and that game going on. quite the entertaining live atmosphere. And then watch Korea, Portugal, watch Ghana, Uruguay. Uruguay looked more dangerous on that. Ghana kind of ran into a boulder. Switzerland, Serbia. This was a really entertaining game. But yeah, so Serbia went up 2-1, then 2-2, then 3-2 Serbia, or excuse me, Switzerland. And yeah, right. It's again like Serbia. Again, Switzerland, they can defend, right? They can like they're like a mini France in that sense. Like at least to me, stylistically how I think about their play style. So good for. Yeah, would have liked to see Serbia go through. Because I think round 16 would have had Vlahovic up to speed, but which not. Yeah, Cameroon getting the win over second string Brazil. Netherlands, USA. Yeah, USA look completely outclassed in the midfield. Tyler Adams, sure he ran a lot, but wasn't tracking back on say the Timber goal. I think it was Argentina, Australia. Surprisingly close game. Again, like still having doubts about Argentina at this point because Australia, like they, of course, the scoreline like Australia getting that one own goal from Fernandez was a bit lucky. But watching the game, didn't feel super confident in Argentina. Like it was a dominant performance. Like did look a bit shaky. France, Poland. Watched the second half of that. Yeah, again, did look a bit shakier, but again, Poland decided to play a bit more progressively, but French quality. England, Senegal did not watch that. Brazil, Korea was extremely surprised at how quickly those goals went in for Brazil in the first half, and that Richarlison and that build up immaculate. Yeah, so watch that in class, watching it. Like really impressive by Brazil was the first half goals, and just like how quickly they came, how quickly they counter, really impressive. Japan, Croatia, yeah, expect really weak penalties from Japan and good for Croatia. And again, that Perisic header will not get talked about enough. But to get a header with that much power and accuracy from 15 yards, insane. I have no idea how you do that, but Perisic did that somehow. That's definitely in top 10 goals right there. That Perisic header from 15 yards that perfectly nestled into corner. Like that came completely out of nowhere, just like a cross from the right side, right bending, but man, to get that insane cross and insane goal, I'm impressed. Morocco, Spain. Yeah, maybe you could say that Sarabia should have like nestled that last 121st minute shot, but again, Spain again like to the degree like like of course like like the Russia 2018 game match, right? You flashbacks to that, but it's the same thing, right? You have possession without any attacking intent, right? And take off Morata or Asensio. Yeah, good for Marco again, because again, like you have to defend, right, in order to get the results. And Portugal, Switzerland, man, that first like Gonzalo Ramos goal, that first one, like extremely, just like so much like that Asano goal against Germany for Japan, like extremely tight window. Again, like completely like top bins out of nowhere on that. But yeah, really good game for Portugal. I think that's probably Portugal's. It wasn't the best showing, but because it was honestly more of like a counter-attacking thing, like the Guerrero goal, the Felix goal. But again, like it shows the individual quality of the Portuguese players. Croatia, Brazil, what a game! Because Croatia were frustrating Brazil. Livakovic was making saves, so you're thinking that, and it went extra time. You're thinking, Croatia they can last for half an hour more and get the penalties. But then when that Neymar run and like how he didn't stop and he got the goal, I said at that point they were done. But then for some reason Fred decides to press the center backs, and Croatia get that 4-on-4 counter. Of course, deflection, but why do you be in that position in the first place? Nobody to make a foul, nobody to close that passing lane down. So I get what is Fred doing up there, pressing the center backs, right? So, man, but again, so yeah. So honestly, like once you got to like extra time, favorite to go to penalties, but did not expect Brazil to give up a lead in extra time. Netherlands, Argentina, what a game this was. Really good up for the Dutch to keep it tight. and close the vague chorus, Kemiras Bobo, right? Iconic. But yeah, I say this game starts like more confident Argentina. Like Messi's noticeably much more involved on the ball. So really have it. Yeah, Morocco Portugal. The end of Syria goal really out of nowhere to be that jump that high, but really good for Morocco. And then the England France again. France I think got really lucky because this game was honestly it wasn't the most it wasn't like a Spain. It wasn't like the Spain Germany game because the Spain Germany game like you had two different styles, right? One team Germany plays a bit more direct. The other team a bit more possession based in Spain. But this game England France they're both very happy to play it to sit back, let the if they're ahead, let the other team have the ball, right? So stylistically, these two teams both play the same way, which made it for a less entertaining watch. And yeah, again, France extremely lucky for it just to not go on extra time because the run of play like playing good, like let England back into the game. And again, Mbappe wasn't super involved, but you think that you could find a way to work around that. But it's just the French attack can be a bit one-dimensional. But again, fine margins, right? Argentina, Croatia. Yeah, it's just you give up the penalty, and then it starts from there, right? But again, really good showing from Croatia, France, Morocco. I think France got a bit lucky that opening Hernandez goal off the El Yamik stepping out, not getting to the ball. But again, really good showing from Morocco, right? For Morocco, to go through the hard way. Quite impressive. The third place game, not too much. It was definitely entertaining. I will say Morocco, like their attacking substitutes were different every game, from like Abu Call to the others like Eze and the striker. But yeah, I mean, I was in the France Morocco game. Morocco completely dominated the game for 15 minutes. They had 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of complete dominance attacking the French goal, and they could not convert it into the net. And I think that's kind of like that's just the quality difference of like the players you have in the attack, because you can organize the defense, but in the attack, like at the end of the day, you need somebody to put the ball in the net, right? Because you can't. Because once the space compresses in the penalty box, you can't really manipulate the space too much, right, through your system. So it really does become players. And I think for those 10, 15 minutes, just Marco could I get in the back of the net, even when they were completely dominating. So and that was when, of course, when they were 2-1 down and kind of a seal the deal. So it was all, but again, really good showing for Marco. And if some bounces went differently in that that 10, 15 minute stretch, a very different result. Morocco Croatia game, yeah, Morocco's again like the attack, but again, was pretty entertaining. But yeah, and some of the injuries, like the back line, like back to like your reserve, like what looks we've got left. And then the Argentina France final. Yeah, I mean compared to so what the Croatia French final for 2018, same number of goals of 4-2, but this one it felt much more competitive. But again, Argentina completely dominated for 75 minutes. The first 75 completely dominated Argentina. Like France really did not have any attacking intent. First half, no expected goals. But again, that's what Mbappe in like the France England game, a bit silent against but against France, literally the reason they stayed in it. And be really impressive for him to make 3 penalties, right? Especially after the missing his against Switzerland in the Euros. But yeah, I will say when it went to the penalty shootout, and you look at who France had on the field, like you didn't have much confidence in anybody besides Mbappe and Kingsley Coman, to take the penalty, right? Because you have a bunch of defenders. Yeah, you have some experienced defenders. No, actually, not really, because the dependable players like Pamecano, the dependable, but not a consistent penalty taker. The midfield, right, young guys, and Chouameni, and Kamavinga. Right, and so in your attack, you have Kolomwani, Thuram, Kingsley Coman, and Mbappe. And so, I mean, I definitely like Thuram, Coman, Mbappe to take penalties, because, but beyond that, right, a bit tough. But then look at Argentina side, right, who brought in Dybala, just much more confidence in like who they had available to take penalties. Was in favor of Argentina. But man, what a game! And it was a shootout. And so that was my high level walkthrough of all the games. Maybe at some point, do more detail of some of the highlight games specifically. Especially, I will say, if you're in the US, if you go to Tubi, you can watch the full match replays for free. For free. Fox Benevolence, I will say, good for Fox. You can watch these for completely free. So definitely recommend. This is crap. I'm gonna get copyrighted straight. Crap. I'm gonna get copyrighted for that. Oh my gosh. But man, what a game! What a tournament! Again, the best. I'm very happy. Maybe my finals performance took a hit because of watching too much soccer, but very happy that I did. And what the greatest sporting event in the world, and part of the greatest sport. Again, this tournament, if anything, just should have. Soccer, international football has gotten much more competitive. The gap between teams has tightened. And so in 2026 and moving forward, to have the 48 teams and ideally 64, so we could have these round 14 groups, is definitely a good idea. It's something that should be advocated towards. So thank you for watching. Those are my thoughts and opinions on this wonderful tournament. You only get to watch, if the average person, just say you live to 80 years old for easy math, 80 divided by 4, you get 20 World Cups. You get 20 world champions in your lifetime. And of course, 80 is a bit high, so it's going to be less, right? So you only get so many World Cups, and the distance makes heart grow fonder, scarcity, supply and demand. So, what a tournament! And I'm very happy that out of those 20 World Cups I'll get to see in my life, I'm pretty happy that this one in Qatar was one of those 20. Thank you for watching, and have a great holiday season. Hey, let me know how your bracket went, or any thoughts about the World Cup, any games, any players. But hey, thanks for watching. And again, what a tournament!